Ang rooftop greenhouse promise on the keycard. The hotel keeps a private forest on its roof, a glass house of humid breath and earnest leaves, open after midnight to people who believe in curated wildness. By day it's influencers and orchids in good light. After hours it becomes a fogged-up confessional masquerading as a garden. I signed at the back desk with a pen that made me briefly honest and slid my phone face down into my left pocket, the pocket I use for things that are supposed to make it home. The night manager handed me a temporary key card the color of unripe limes. "Elevator 4, she said, the way a priest might say go in peace and don't embarrass me. Back home, David had said, "Can we talk tomorrow?" in the voice that really means please stay now. Our couch is a courtroom when it wants to be. If we sit at opposite ends long enough, it swears us in and charges a fee. I left before opening statements put on cologne. In the lobby elevator, my screen lit with a message from N. Noah and my contacts, N in the way I label hazards to make them smaller. Greenhouse. Just talk. He didn't add an emoji. He trusts my trouble to bring its own. By day, I fix other people's paragraphs for a boutique branding studio that believes adjectives are a kind of insurance. By night, I try not to turn my own sentences into weapons. David and I keep a code that works when we remember it. T means come here, you awake. Means I'm scared. Tomorrow means not yet, but please don't wander. Noah drifted back into orbit 2 months ago when our firm pitched the hotel, and they let us name the color green like we invented chlorophyll. He walked me through the greenhouse with the competence of a man who has learned which valves want respect and which just want to be left alone. He wore a linen shirt with the sleeves pushed and a laugh that sounded like a glass agreeing to be set down gently. He didn't ask for anything. That was how I started bringing him everything. Elevator 4 accepted the key card like it had been waiting for me to remember I could still choose doors. On the roof, the greenhouse exhaled. The door shut behind me with the soft authority of a good decision that knows it won't last. Inside, the air was wet and busy. There were coils of mist on timers, ferns pretending to be delicate while lifting entire afternoons, a fig tree plotting to take the building back to the soil one root at a time. Noah leaned against a potting bench under a string of low lamps, collar unpunished, hair damp with effort. He tapped the lanyard hanging from his neck like a metronome for patience, then let it go. "You came," he said, "because grown men never tire of pretending arrival is a plot twist." "I came to return something," I said. "My master key, your restraint." "Your name," I told him. "It's been on my mouth too long for its own health." He took the lime green keycard from my fingers and set it on the bench. Beside it, he placed a fine tip marker, the kind that believes in accuracy as a hobby. "3 words," he said. "Why are you here?" "3 words is cruel," I said. "That's why they work." He rotated the card so the blank white strip faced the light. "No speeches around the humidifiers. They're jealous of drama." I wrote proud at breakfast. Beneath it, smaller like a fuse I might or might not light, touch before arguing. He read the ink as if it had temperature. He didn't touch me. His hand hovered a breath from my lapel, the distance a match keeps during training, and fell back to the bench like the philodendron had vetoed contact. "Does he know?" Noah asked. He didn't need to weaponize the pronoun. "He knows the apartment is quiet," I said. We stood in the tender racket of leaves drinking. A mist valve sighed on. Water traced the edges of a broad leaf with the devotion of an understudy. Noah took a step into my weather. Heat arrived before hands do when men are trying to be better than their appetites. "Tell me no," he said gently, the most indecent mercy in his mouth. I didn't. I met him in the inch that rewrites evenings. His mouth tasted like mint and a stubborn citrus. When his hand found the back of my neck, His grip remembered humane limits. My body answered like a courtroom that wants the witness anyway. He made the sound men make when a small country surrenders and calls it diplomacy. I made the one I've learned not to hate when it belongs to him. We didn't rush. Glass punishes speed with fog. His mouth found the hinge of my jaw. Mine found the line behind his ear where regret loses vocabulary. His palm slid under my shirt and rested flat a second. Do you swear? Then moved with attention rather than appetite. He guided my hand down with the steadiness of someone who respects tools. I closed my fingers and he exhaled against my mouth a truth nobody paid to hear. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because oxygen prefers prose. A gecko paused on a pane and pretended to be an audience with standards. We already cheated, he said when breath remembered its job. We cheated the night we started telling each other the truth before we told it at home. I know, I said, and a droplet fell from a leaf and chose not to be dramatic about it. He slid the keycard into my left pocket with ceremonial slowness. His thumb traced my wrist once and decided not to stay. He stepped back the moral inch that passes inspection. I comped a suite downstairs, he said, not triumphant. Weather report, not prophecy. Refundable. We could stand at the window and not touch for 60 seconds to prove we remember ceremony. We could keep the do not disturb honest. I'm tired of being clever, I said. Clever's a trellis, he said. Useful, but it won't turn sunlight into anything you can eat. Accurate is root. He opened a drawer and produced a novelty magnet shaped like a tiny watering can, ridiculous and perfect, and pressed it into my palm. For your fridge, he said. Cold helps letters behave. He took me along the aisle where small lives do large work. He showed me a propagation tray with cuttings that didn't yet know they were brave. He flicked a switch, and a soft blue LED reminded the leaves of moonlight. Text me a weather report in the morning, he said. Tell me if the kettle beat the reasons. It usually does, I said, when we let it. Outside, the city had selected a temperature and meant it. The crosswalk gave me time, I took it. The apartment offered its square of kitchen light and the fridge's patient hum. David sat on the floor with his back against the door, sleeves pushed to his elbows, one ankle crossed over the other, the posture manuals use when they draw people on the verge of repairing something. He didn't ask where I'd been. He tilted his head toward the space beside him. I sat. Do you want to be asked? He said, voice steady, not performing mercy, offering it. Please, I said, because prompts are the scaffolding of my better self. Are you lonely? Some nights, I said. Not here, not when you ask first, not when the kettle outruns the reasons. I took his wrist and placed his hand on my forearm the way he does when he needs to confirm I'm not inventing weather. His thumb traced once and believed me. I feel useful, he said. I want to be wanted before I'm useful. Tonight's procedure, I said. Touch first, argue second, report later. The kettle clicked like a stamp in a country that still believes in mail. He poured water over mint. We called it dinner because names are cheaper than regret. I pinned the keycard beneath the watering can magnet so Proud at Breakfast faced the room. David read the ink and his mouth did the smaller, braver thing. He took the dry erase marker from the cup by the fridge and wrote beneath the magnet, Tomorrow, keep the torque. He didn't grin. He nodded like a man assembling a morning from honest screws. We made a rule that isn't noble. When prosecution tries to wear a bathrobe, one of us says greenhouse and the other puts the kettle on while the first puts his hands where history can find them. 5 words when 5 are enough. Stop at the shoulder, not the ditch. Try to want what we promised, and when we don't, write 3 words on small plastic and tell the room where we'll fail differently tomorrow. Days do what days do when you're trying to be an amateur human with professional consistency. The keycard learned the shape of my left hand. Plastic learns its carriers. On the late tram, I drafted messages to no one that began I didn't ask because I thought that counted as kindness and ended may your breakfast go right. I didn't send them. The not sending felt like a skill borrowed from Moss. Stay, soften, survive. A week later, afternoon tried to be a test. A client wanted romance without risk. A neighbor's argument rehearsed itself on our courtyard like community theater with questionable funding. I walked past the hotel and bought nothing. I left a bottle of water at the valet stand with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister." The doorman gave me the nod bridges use when they've held and will hold again. On my way home, I slipped a blank plant tag into my pocket and wrote "Turn" toward your name across the clean side. I didn't light anything. Noah and I adjusted our grammar. Fewer messages. No sweets with carpets that forgive too much. If we failed quieter. If we stopped without applause. Still, we orbited. He sent a photo of an unfurling fern with my initials hidden in the curve. I replied with steam curling over 2 mugs and David's unshowy script beneath the magnet, torque. We flirted by photosynthesis. We confessed by humidity. Storm Light tried to make a religion of the sky one evening. A pressure alarm squealed, a mist line clogged, the greenhouse forgot its patience. Noah texted, "Valve jam, roof hatch rattling, need hands, bring nothing that can't get damp." I was 4 blocks away and too willing. We braced a hatch with a length of cedar, unscrewed a temperamental filter, begged air to be reasonable. When the hiss resolved into a steady, contented breath, Noah leaned against a potting bench with the posture of a man who'd wrestled a small god and kept his manners. He pulled me in with a kiss that didn't apologize. My back found the cool of glass, his hand found my hip. Somewhere a drip tray auditioned for percussion. We didn't rush. We mapped mercy with our mouths and rehearsal with our hands. His palm slid under my damp shirt and paused, "Do you swear?" Then moved only as far as the better version of me allowed. I bracketed him with a grip he could leave without proving anything. He reached for me and I let him. We stayed quiet because the banana leaves already had better lines. "We're bad at quitting," he said into my jaw. "We're good at failing differently," I said into his neck. He laughed once, stubborn and soft, like a man who has promised himself fewer speeches and better breathing. "Text me a weather report in the morning," he said. "Tell me if the kettle beat the reasons." "It usually does," I said, "when we let it." David met me at home with the posture of a question he had decided not to weaponize. He smelled like basil and clean shirts. "Hungry?" he asked, not a trap. We ate toast like it had been newly invented. After, he wrote under the magnet, "Ask before leaving." I wrote, "Hold me first." We signed because paperwork sometimes keeps 2 men from becoming hatchets. On a Tuesday that felt unromantic enough to be useful, I told him inventory. Noah's name, the rooms, the fence I kept showing off by leaning on it. He didn't arrive as a saint or a jury. He said, "Stay while you learn the thing you say you want to learn, but don't make me a lobby where you water your conscience and call it growth." Breakfast became a place with rules. No phones at the table. No rehearsed cruelty before coffee. No pretending tomorrow is a closet where tonight can hang unexamined. I turned the keycard over and added 3 new words in morning handwriting that looked like it had slept. "Choose the hard." David watched me write and didn't ask for a receipt. We shrank the orbit. Fewer rooftops. No doors that locked from the inside. Noah sent a picture of the greenhouse at lights out, captioned "Stayed." I hearted it and didn't go. He hearted the heart and let it cool. The hotel launched a night in the tropics package with drinks that wore herbs like hats. Our agency finessed copy that promised fogged glass and respectable receipts. I stood in the bar and watched people hold hands as if theft could be legal with the right garnish. The bartender slid me a coaster and a look that didn't need translation. On the way out, I left 2 drink vouchers with a note, "For whoever is waiting for a sister," and walked home more carefully than I arrived. The kettle beat the reasons. One blue evening, the greenhouse invited donors to meet the plants they were pretending to save. I stood in row B with a borrowed tie and the complicated pride of someone who wrote the adjectives. Noah didn't look for me. The part of him that belongs to the water systems refused. That's how I knew he was taking this seriously. After, he sent a single photo, a pressure gauge steady at green, one small LED insisting still here. I sent back the magnet on our fridge and the keycard under it. We left it there. Sometimes David asks if Noah made me feel seen. I tell him yes, and that being seen isn't the same as being kept. He nods like a map allowing a road to be closed without deleting it. Some nights he places my hand on his chest and says weather, and I answer with steam and minutes and the way my mouth can choose his shoulder before it chooses an argument. Weeks learn their lines. We fail and fail differently and fail in ways that don't require anyone to stand under mist pretending to know which leaf will save them. The room does not demand a verdict. The morning remembers its job. I still carry the lime keycard in my left pocket. It warms against my thigh like a minor gravity the hotel doesn't bill for, heavier than plastic has any right to be. Proud at breakfast. Touch before arguing. Choose the hard. None of it is noble. All of it is procedural, like pruning. Cut where growth is confused. Keep the wound clean. Trust the shape you said you wanted when the plant forgives you later. Outside, the city chooses a temperature and sticks with it. Inside, our kitchen hums a modest hymn. David leans against the counter and asks, "Are you staying?" without making it a trap. "I'm trying to want what I promised," I say. "Help me make more minutes where that's easy." He nods, finds a blank index card, writes "Read me closely." I write beneath it, "Handle with care." We pin it under the watering can magnet, ridiculous and effective, and let tomorrow mean only what we can carry without breaking the pot.